I might screw up this intro.
Let's do it.
Okay. All right, ready?
Yes.
Eins, zwei, drei. Hi, everyone.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, everyone, and welcome to another Atmos Gaming video. We're back with a review of Fallout. Instead of doing an entire set review, because who has time for that? We instead just picked out some cards that we're interested in, some cards that look really neat. I ended up picking up about half the set.
Oh my!
Because one thing that I noticed, I've heard that there's been some fervor, around this set. Like the collector boxes were getting really expensive, and people seem kind of a lot more interested than was originally expected. I really love Fallout 3. I have played some of the old games. I love New Vegas. I played some of Fallout 4, but I just didn't really have time for another huge open world game like that. So I'm kind of interested in Fallout, but in reading through these cards, they were really interesting. This seems like a really well designed set, almost surprisingly so. So I understand. It feels like the quality of Warhammer 40k, which was also excellent, maybe even a little more thoughtful in the design, honestly. So I kind of understand why people are just really excited about this from a Magic perspective. These are really interesting cards, and that's why I picked far too many for us to go over.
You did.
So
yeah.
we'll do the review until we drop. Gabe, what do you got?
I was just going to say, they also play really well with some old mechanics in Magic that also work very well in the set, just in a theme. And I think that these cards really complement not only Magic, but this Fallout franchise, which, to be fair, I have no experience with, but appreciate the card.
Yeah. So we're going to be focused, obviously, on Commander, because this is a Commander-only set. I mean, it's also Legal and Legacy, but I don't really have too much experience in that. So we're not just going to be focused on power. There are a lot of quite powerful cards. We are going to hit those, but also a flavor and fun perspective. That's what Commander's all about, right? Building around something that interests you. So starting us off, we've got Gabe pick this one out. Caesar, which is, I believe, the very first one, card number 1. So obviously, yeah, we're only going to review a few of them if we're starting already with the first one. Go ahead, Gabe.
Yeah. So Caesar's Allegiance Emperor, it's 4 mana for 1 red, white, and a black. Legendary Mardu, legendary creature, human soldier. Whenever you attack, you may sacrifice another creature. When you do, choose 2. Create 2 1/1 red and white creature tokens with haste and that are tapped and attacking. Draw a card and lose a life. And then this card deals damage equal to the number of creature tokens you control to target an opponent, and it's a 4/4. So I really like this card because it gives you a lot of ways to do things that decks in Mardu want to do, using tokens and sacrificing tokens, and also having a draw engine. So I think it's a really powerful commander for this kind of thing, and I think this could be super relevant moving forward.
And a neat thing, so the first one makes 2 1/1s that then creates fodder for all the subsequent times. Right. So you have to sacrifice another creature, but exactly like Gabe said, this is very Mardu sort of aristocrat sacky, and also there's a lot of flavor here, right? He's Caesar. He doesn't care about the peons at all. He's attacking. He's sacking people. He's getting value out of it.
Yeah. Also, Convoke is in this deck, and specifically in some of these colors.
Oh, yeah.
So the fact that you can play this, have 2 attacking things probably in the pre-con deck, and then tap those down with a Convoke instant spell or something to really get a ton of value. Well, this is pretty cool.
Yeah, the 2 that you create are immediately tapped and attacking as well.
They are tapped.
Which is kind of a downside, right? Because if your opponent can block, then they kind of get eaten. But it's Commander, so we're probably not doing that. There'll probably be someone that can attack. Yeah, there'll be someone who's open to attack. And then it's cool, too, that the last one is so the first ones help you do the thing, right? It generates the tokens, it draws you card. And then the last one also has a payoff for once you've done the thing that your deck's trying to do, which is a bunch of tokens. Right? So it's very versatile. So this is very much like a commander, which is obviously what it is. This is from the commanders of the deck.
For sure, commander.
Another important thing that I want to point out about this is that it says whenever you attack. So you'll see this on several cards. Normally cards care about the card itself attacking, right? Cares about Caesar attacking. But this is much better because it can trigger immediately when you play it. It does not have to attack. It says whenever you attack.
It has nothing to do with this card attacking, which is huge. And generally, I would say the majority of things that have this generic kind of wording or this kind of payoff, you have to be attacking with that creature.
Yeah.
And this not having to do that is
it keeps it safe. Really nice. It triggers immediately. So yeah, I think this. I agree. I think this is great. I think it also shows how good the design is in this set.
Yeah, I think this card might be bad if the 1/1s it created are not attacking, or yeah, like if the 1/1s just come in untapped, it might be too good.
Oh yeah, it might be too good. Yeah, I mean it's cool. I mean I don't think it's like quite CEDH, but like it's a really strong commander. It shows that these
really strong
decks are intended to be good.
It only costs 4 as well, which is pretty big.
Yeah, 4/4/4/4, not downside. All right, so Gabe, you also wanted this one.
Yeah. I also wanted this one, and I will preface this and say that I don't think this is very good, but it is fun exclusively because it gives a nice payoff for auras and equipment. So building around, you can build more heavily into one or the other, but like it's got some fun payoffs that normally you would need an Enchantress deck to even get. And let me read it real quick to explain that.
I was just going to say that there is a lot in this set of Voltron and Aura and equipment love. Like, that might be one of the biggest themes. Like, we'll see Energy's a theme, Rads are a theme, and then really Auras and Equipments, I would say, is like... Auras and Equipments might actually be the biggest theme, but there's also a lot of mill going on with Rad and stuff, too. So, anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, so Dogmeat, Ever Loyal, it's Naya, so red, green, white, for a 3/3 legendary creature dog, which we know people love the dogs. When Dogmeat enters the battlefield, mill 5 cards, then return an aura or equipment card from the graveyard to your hand. Whenever a creature you control that's enchanted or equipped attacks, create a junk token. And a junk token is a kind of new, interesting version of Investigate, where instead of a clue, you're exiling something from the top of your deck so that you can play it this turn, which is obviously not as good as drawing a card, but you can also build this deck, especially it being in red, around having payoffs that like things being exiled. From
it's impulse draw.
I like that.
Yeah, it's impulse draw, which is very the red thing, but unlike clues, this costs 0.
Yeah.
It costs 0 to crack it. So
obviously also like the artifact.
It's still an artifact.
Going on with it. So this has a lot of. It might have too many things going on to be good, but there might be like a sweet spot where, like, obviously this isn't going to be CEDH, but it could be. I think theoretically, if you really tested this enough, you could hone it down to a point where it could be very efficient at like not really needing to have a ton of card draw, but having a lot of really cool payoffs with like big red, and I honestly like green might be only for ramp.
I mean, it definitely feels Voltron-y. It feels Voltron-y because it'll never be CEDH because it's not cheating anything. It's not putting anything into play, right? It's just putting it in your hand. So it is kind of like Voltron-y battle cruiser. Huh?
Yeah. It just has a lot of like interesting.
It basically draws you a card. It's aura or equipment too, so it's definitely not Enchantress. Like it's specifically Voltron-y sort of strategies, right? Unless you're playing an Enchantress deck that is a ton of auras, but you'd have to have a very high aura count to do that. But you can do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's neat. I think he's pretty good. The card draw, the pseudo impulse card draw is like an interesting aspect to it as well.
And it's dog.
Yeah, I think this is garbage without that. But
yep. So then my first one. So we've done the first 3 cards. We're not doing a full set review, I promise. So Dr. Madison Li. Of course, I picked Jeskai, my favorite color combination. Red, white, and blue. The good old USA. That's a legendary doctor, human scientist. Whenever you cast an artifact spell, you get an energy. Here's the first big energy card that we see. Tap, pay 1 energy. A creature gains +1/+0, trample, and haste. Tap, pay 3 energy, draw a card. Tap, pay 5 energy, return target artifact card from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. So, this is a great energy engine. So, immediately we know in EDH there is a ton of ways to play a bunch of artifacts for free over and over and over again, right? All you need is a way to reanimate a 0-cost artifact and get a ton of energy.
Varietal.
Yeah, but just passively getting energy for artifacts, like you're just going to be playing a bunch of 0-cost cantripping artifacts. And then the idea is that, you know, once you play like your Soul Ring, your Lotus Petal, you know, whatever sort of your Mishra's Bauble, whatever you're going to do, then you can cheat an entire big artifact into play, like a Phyrexian, a Portal to Phyrexia, or whatever, you know, something that's just like a game-winning, insane artifact gets reanimated for free, basically. I mean, 5 energy, but 0 mana. You do have to have milled it. It's like, this is asking you to do stuff, but the idea of being able to gain a ton of energy passively, and potentially infinitely, and then paying you off with card draw, or like, you know, slamming some game-winning thing that you've managed to put in your graveyard. Because red's what does that, right? Your Goblin Welders, you put your broken things in the graveyard using red that are artifacts, and then this thing reanimates them, assuming that you have cast, and that's cast artifact spells, right? So you can't like blink them for it to trigger. You have to specifically cast them. But also, even if it gets countered, you still get the energy counter. So I think this is a pretty necessary include in energy-based decks. And I've highlighted a lot of that because I think energy is really cool. And I like the cards that passively gain you energy.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if energy can work, it's going to be with this commander. But like, I also don't have no context for like old energy cards really, other than knowing that they do exist to know like how.
Yeah, I don't either, honestly.
Like this.
I mean, even the top ability could be a win con.
Which one? The pay energy?
Yeah, just pay 1.
Yeah, to give it a +1 trample and haste. Yeah, that could be effective at some point. So yeah,
I mean, she's like a cool energy farm.
Yeah, she is. She's.
And it's pretty easy in this, like in these colors, to make this untap infinitely with a varietal of
methods. You could also do that.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
like
draw your whole deck.
Ready.
Ready. Yeah,
those weren't the right words.
So my next one is, I'm skipping one to Liberty Prime. You want to go over the Mothman?
Wait, but the Wise Mothman.
I'm skipping it.
He's garbage.
Okay, Liberty Prime. Did you have this one? I have this one.
I mean, I didn't care enough about it, but I do like it.
I don't think this is tremendous, but it's interesting. Again, just energy fascinates me.
Good.
So it's 2 and a Jeskai. Again, Jeskai, maybe why I picked it. Vigilance, Trample, Haste, 8/8. So 5 mana for a Vigilance, Trample, Haste, 8/8. Compelling. Whenever it attacks or blocks, sacrifice it unless you pay 2 energy. And then you sacrifice an artifact, 2 a tap, sacrifice an artifact, get 2 energy, and draw a card. So, interestingly, if you have an artifact, you can actually have, I'm pretty sure, you can have no energy and attack with this because it has vigilance, right? So you declare you declare attackers, the second ability triggers because it attacked, and with that ability on the stack, and you still attacking, you can pay 2, tap it, and sacrifice an artifact to get the 2 energy and draw a card, and then pay for its ability. So you don't have to have energy to declare it attacking. You have to have either 2 energy or 2 mana and an artifact that you can sacrifice.
Right.
So that's kind of interesting. But, I mean, cycling artifacts for cards and energy, like, that seems kind of fine. And I think this is actually what you want to be your commander. Because this thing does an alarming amount of commander damage.
Oh my gosh, yeah, he does.
Fast. Like, and it can accelerate it out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so
pretty
kind of
easily.
kind of what I was thinking. Obviously, everything's insane with Jeweled Lotus, but like, if you pay, there's various artifacts that gain you 2 energy for 2 mana in this set, and who knows the old cards. But like, if you play one of those, and then on turn 3, you're just like, sack my Jeweled Lotus, play this thing on turn 3, or shoot, you could even do it earlier than that.
That would be scary.
Anyway, yeah, it just seems big and fast. It's kind of a big dumb card.
You could easily, if you had a good hand, you could play those turn 1 easily.
Yeah, but play it turn 1 and have 2 mana or 2 energy, that would be difficult.
Yeah.
Turn 2 is more doable. All right, what's your next one, Gabe? My next one is Mr. House.
We still have a minute before we get to my next one.
Okay. I'm just going to briefly touch on this one. So this is all about rolling caring. So it says whenever you roll a 4 or higher, you make a 3/3. whenever you roll a 6 or higher, you make a treasure token. So stuff that makes you roll d20s, which there's quite a bit of in Magic, like not an insane amount, but like there's a fair bit of, especially from all the D&D sets, right? They're all about rolling d20s. Like you have basically a chance to hit both of these. I notice you get both if you roll a 6. They're two separate statements. So you get a 3/3 and a treasure. And then it just makes you roll dice. Like that's all it does. The more treasures you spend, the more dice you roll. The weird thing to me is that this doesn't have blue in it. I'm pretty sure blue is one of the core like die rolling colors, and you kind of want this to be your commander. So that's a little awkward, but it's just a neat card for die rolling.
Love rolling some dice.
Yeah. Let's see. I got Aradesh is next for me. So this is 2 and a white for a 1/4 enlist. So as this creature attacks, you can tap another non-attacking creature you control that also doesn't have summoning sickness. So it's dried in Lorcana term. And when you do, it supports in Lorcana's terms.
Yeah.
It has its power. So whenever a creature you control attacks, if it enlisted a creature this combat, the creature that attacked gains double strike. If the creature's power is 4 or greater, draw a card. So, again, this can be a commander. This is an Enlist Matters commander, which shows like how deep they're getting in card design, right? Like, in this specific keyword. Because it's whenever a creature you control attacks, if it enlisted a creature. So it does it for itself, but then also everything else that has enlist. It triggers for all of them.
Yeah.
So, like, if you have 3 enlist characters, but then you also have to have big power stuff, like, the payoff is insane. Big double strikers that draw you a card when they attack, and this thing only costs 3. You know, so like, this is what I mean by this. I can see why people are interested in this set, because this is priced to move. Like, if for whatever reason you're the person out there that's like, enlist someday, enlist commander build around. Here it is.
Here we go.
It's also a human soldier, so you can build in like humans matter, soldiers matter.
So yeah, it's just neat. Neat card. Battle of Hoover Dam. This is an interesting thing that we've seen come back from, I think it was like the Battle Bond sets or something that made you choose. Also, it's just awesome because it's the Hoover Dam.
Yeah.
So 3 and a white enchantment. Gabe loves enchantments. Battle for Hoover Dam. He enters. Yeah.
Yay, enchantment.
You choose NCR or Legion. So if you choose NCR, it just like permanently changes what this card does. So at the beginning of your end step, return target creature card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield with a finality counter on it. Finality counter just means if it dies, it gets exiled instead. They keep finding ways to like shorten the words at the cost of newer players having no idea what anything means. And if you pick Legion, if you pick Legion, whenever a character you control dies, put 2 1/1 counters on target creature you control. So Legion has some wild shenanigans if you have another like sack engine going on, right? Like, if you have a way to like roll counters with a sack engine, who knows? There's some shenanigans there.
The first commander.
Yes. And like even weird like infinite sacking, like modular, like there's all sorts of wild, like artifacts have this modular thing with hardened scales, which is also in this set. You can there's definitely hijinks you can do with the second one, and the first one's just a good value engine. Like you just keep recurring something that costs 3 or less. That's probably drawing you, or you can't keep recurring it. That's why it has the finality counter. Because you can't just do it infinitely. But this is neat, right? Is this good enough, Gabe?
I think this is really, I think in a deck that really cares about it, or a deck that has like a commander, like the first one that we looked at, the Ceasar, this works really well in making it so that you have like multiple stopgaps to keep yourself going, because you want to come in hot and fast with those decks. So yeah, I think this is good.
And you do have to choose it when it comes into play, and then it just does that. So, like, if you could choose it every turn, it would be outrageous, I think.
Yeah.
Just that's important. So my next one, Brotherhood Scribe. This is an interesting card. So 1 and a white for a 1/3 Metalcraft. Tap to gain an energy. Activate only if you control 3 or more artifacts. That's what Metalcraft means.
Right, yeah.
Whenever you gain an energy during your turn, creatures you control get +1/+1. So I think this card buries the lead. Like, I think tapping to gain an energy if you have 3 or more artifacts, like, that's fine, whatever, because it also triggers its second ability.
Yeah.
But, like, what if you just have a way to gain 6 energy on a turn? You know? Like, your whole team gets +6/+6?
Yeah.
Like, that seems wild, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this thing costs 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the text that says sometimes, you just win.
Yeah. You can make a
For
massive
2.
team. So I don't know how easy it is to get like 5 or 6 energy, or even like imagine you have a way to passively gain like 2 energy a turn, one of which can be this guy. Like that's a big
problem. With the
also,
card,
again,
the 3-cost card we looked at earlier.
Also, any deck in blue and white, like there are going to be ways for you to tap and untap this card.
Yeah, that's also possible. Also, what's really cool is like you're getting passive value from the energy. It's not spending the energy, you know. So you get more value from spending the energy.
Right.
It's just rewarding you for gaining energy
whenever you have that much.
Which you already want to gain energy. So like I think it's good. But like you can already see the way that these decks are built. Like, man.
There's a lot of interesting stuff going on.
The very next one.
I actually did look at this card.
Read it for us. I've been going too many.
Yeah, so this is Codsworth Handy Helper, 2 and a white, legendary artifact creature robot, and it's a 2/3. He's saying, proud to serve, which, look at this robot. He's been serving a long time and still proud.
Yeah, exactly. This is the opening from Fallout 4. Codsworth is awesome.
Okay. So, commanders you control have War 2. Yeah, no idea. So you can tap this to add 2 white, and you can only use it to cast auras or equipment spells. So obviously this is in the dog deck. And then you can also tap it to attach target aura or equipment you control to target creature you control, activate only as a sorcery. So that is important text, because this could be super cool if you could use this to even like save auras from removal or to move equipment at an instant speed.
But you can't move it at instant speed.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm saying it's important that it says that, because this could. I honestly think they should have, because this would have been really cool if you could have
moved them.
Used this to like move. It could have been actually good. I think this is just okay. Like it's a thing that exists.
I like the first line of text. I think giving commanders you control have War 2 is just pretty good.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah, for sure.
It is an artifact itself. Yeah, it's your handy helper. It's your handy helper in your Voltron deck. That's how I look. Like that, because think of this again, just purely from a Voltron perspective. Like you're trying to make one badass Dogmeat. Like the whole idea is it's harder to target your commander. I'm putting stuff on. I'm helping you to cast stuff that goes on your commander quicker. And then if you play an equipment that has a huge equip cost, I'm helping you cheat that as well. Right? Like it's just doing every little thing to make your Voltron much like a handy helper. So, I mean, if you have a Voltron deck, I assume you're just playing this. I don't see why you wouldn't. So my next one's Idolized. Just stop me if I'm passing one that you care about, Gabe, okay?
Yeah, I have it pulled up.
Okay. So Idolize, you go.
All right, Idolized, 1 and a white. What symbol is that actually?
That's a rare.
That is a rare? Okay. Like I said earlier, I'm not familiar with these symbols like at all.
Yeah,
Commander symbols are usually weird to me, and these are especially hard.
Yeah, it's a face.
It's an enchantment aura. Enchantment creature. Cut. And it's an enchantment aura. Enchanted creature has whenever this creature attacks alone, it gets plus X until the end of turn, where X is the number of non-land permanents you control.
Yeah. So
this card could be pretty good.
Yeah, it's the very definition of a Voltron card, right?
Yeah.
It is the very definition. It's like, so it doesn't give it passively. It has to specifically be attacking, but it's like it's counting all non-land permanents. So typically these count the number of other auras or equipments attached to it. This is just everything, every non-land permanent.
But this is for sure going in Light Paws now, yeah?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, it's just like, there's a ton of Voltron support, and this is like the idolized version of Voltron support.
Yeah, that's actually interesting. I missed that one. That's really cool.
The very next one. So this card is weird. I think this card is really bad. I still just wanted to briefly talk about it because the idea in RPGs of being over-encumbered is kind of funny. And it's also an enchant opponent, which is rare. So it's 1 and a white, over-encumbered, enchant opponent. When it enters the battlefield, your opponent gets a clue, a food, and a junk. They're not upset about that. At the beginning of combat on enchanted opponent's turn, that player may pay 1 for each artifact they control. If they don't, creatures can't attack this combat. So I think this card is really bad because it's giving your opponent 3 things, and the only cost to them is that they can't attack. And it's just 1 opponent. So like, the only application I was thinking is if you were in a CEDH pod where you knew your opponents were all playing like attack-based win cons, then maybe. Because if you're in anything slower than CEDH, they're just going to be like, fine, I'll gain life and draw a card and impulse draw. Yeah. You're punishing them for having a bunch of treasures so that they can't attack. Like if they had to pay 1 mana for each artifact they controlled or sacrifice it, now we're talking. Like that's over encumbered. I also kind of don't like because that you have to get rid of the stuff in order to move on when you're over encumbered. Mm-hmm. You know, this is just keeping them. I mean, you also can't attack effectively. Ironically, you can attack more effectively than you can move.
You can just immediately pop the junk token.
Yeah, I know, right? Like there's just literally no cost to that. So yeah, I'm like super off this. I think it's funny design. I think they chickened out on this. I think they had a much more intense version of this.
That was hilarious bad.
Yeah, that was like really punishing, and they were like, "Yeah, we're not printing that."
Yeah, and then they just printed the bad version.
yeah, they just printed a silly bad version. They're like, "It still has the flavor."
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Securitron Squadron, 1 and a white, squad 3. So squad's an interesting ability. Yeah. You can pay it as many times as you want, and it creates that many copies of it. So it's overcost. It's like normally it's the other way. More expensive creature with lower squad cost. This is the opposite. Very cheap creature with high squad cost. Vigilance. Whenever a creature token enters the battlefield under your control, it gets a 1/1 counter. So, and it says whenever a creature token, which means it sees itself.
Yep.
So the first one you play, the first one you squad is a 4/4. I'm pretty sure this sees yourself, right? Like whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, draw a card. Yeah, it sees itself. So that means the first time you squad it, it's a 4/4 because this one pumps it and it pumps itself.
Right.
The second time you do it, they're both 5/5s. They're both 5/5s. If you were able to squad it twice, they're both 5/5s. So it's cool.
But you should be able to.
Yeah, but obviously you're playing this in a token-heavy deck. But even just playing it for 2, if you just have the ability to generate a bunch of tokens,
right?
Them all getting +1/+1. And again, if you care about counter payoffs, there's a lot of counters that are like thrown around for free in this set.
And there are so many counter doublers now in general in Commander.
Yep. They want to move Magic into like a full European resource management board game. You just have energy counters and 1/1 counters and counters of counters.
Sierra. Look at Sierra, Nuka's best fan. So this card has nothing to do with being good, but it is some of the best art in the set. Because this lovely lady is having a great time with her cola.
Yeah, Nuka-Cola.
Yeah, Sierra Nuka's biggest fan. 3 and a white, so 4 for legendary creature human citizen, and it's a 3/4. The Nuka-Cola challenge, whenever 1 or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, put a quest counter on Sierra, Nuka's biggest fan, and create a food token. Whenever you sacrifice a food, target creature you control gets +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of quest counters on Sierra. So, like, this isn't good because it's very slow, but, like, it could be really funny.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm not a fan. So one through line that we'll see in design here is this quest counter concept. There's several creatures that Notice it also says one or more. Like, you don't get a bunch of quest counters if you hit with, like, a big team. It's just one quest counter. You have to deal combat damage. But it is combat damage to a player. So if you can do combat damage to multiple players, it will get multiple quest counters. In Commander, obviously. But I'm kind of off the entire cycle. There's several of them. I don't think any of them are great. Like you said, it's very slow. It's funny. It's funny.
I think it's funny. That's it.
Also, we'll see things that matter about the specific type of artifact token that you sacrifice. Like, this one cares about a food, but notice it doesn't care about how you sacrifice it. Like, if you have free artifact sack outlets, you're not having to pay the mana to sacrifice the food, which makes it more compelling. So, look for those sort of synergies in all of them. But I will say that's pretty cool design, where like you allow another card to basically upgrade how good it is. This is also a hilarious card from Fallout lore. Yes Man, Personal Securitron, 2 and a white for a 2/2 artifact, legendary artifact creature robot. So this can be your commander. Target opponent gains control of it. When they do, you draw 2 cards and put a quest counter on it. You can only activate it during your turn. So in your turn, I can give you any target opponent, give you control of it, but I get to draw 2, and then I put a quest counter on it. And when it leaves the battlefield, its owner creates a tapped 1/1 white soldier creature token for each quest counter on it. So if you give it to your opponent, but then try to remove it, they get 1/1s equal to the number of quest counters. It would eventually becomes in control of someone that can sacrifice it. That would be quite good. So the real way that you want to do this, right? The Yahtzee moment is you tap it on your turn, put its ability on the stack, and then in response sacrifice it. Because then you'll get, like, let's say you're the 4th player, or even if you're the 1st player, that way... So if you're the 1st player to do it, it doesn't have any quest tokens on it, you won't get any amount of 1/1s. But that's kind of the Yahtzee of it, is let's say somehow this has 4 quest counters on it, you draw 2 and sacrifice it and get 4 1/1s. It's funny. You know what deck this is going in, right?
Group hug, Glunch.
Yeah, the Glunch group hug. This is for sure deep in Glunch. Curie.
Huh.
This one's kind of creepy.
Looks silly.
Yeah, Curie, Emergent Intelligence, 1 and a blue. Another legendary artifact creatures. Again, very Fallout, so there's a lot of legendary artifact creatures. It's a 1/3. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, draw cards equal to its base power. So not what it's been pumped to. But there are cards that specifically change base power.
Yeah.
But so it's only 1. If it deals combat damage to a player. But you can pay 1 and a blue to exile another non-token artifact creature. And it becomes a copy of it, except it has, whenever it deals combat damage, draw cards equal to its base power. I just think this is a neat card. It's kind of like... I don't know, it's kind of freaky, but I think some people were talking about, like, wild things that this card could do. I don't know what it is, but whenever you talk about drawing cards equal to base power, like, that's an immense amount of cards. It kind of stinks that it says non-token artifact, but notice that's also an instant activated ability. So the idea is that you're threatening that. You, like, attack them, and you're like, if you block... or if you block or don't block. If you block, I eat one of my creatures to basically trade, or, win the combat, or I draw 5 cards or something.
This card is weird.
All right. Yep. James Wandering Dead. Oh yeah, here, you take this one.
Oh, it's an adventure card.
James Wandering Dad, 2 and a blue, legendary creature, human scientist, and it's a 2/4. His first part is follow him, X and 2 blue. It's an instant, investigate X times. So if you love artifacts, and obviously those turning into drawing cards, it's very interesting. And then if you play it for 3, becomes just a creature that you can tap to add 2 colorless to spend this mana, and spend this mana only to activate spend this mana only to activate abilities. So, like, obviously it pays for its first part, creating the clue tokens, and it just goes really well in any artifacts, matter, or blue deck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just like the idea of instant speed being able to generate X artifacts is interesting to me. Yeah, I don't know how good it is as a creature, but
I don't think it's great, but I think it's good. I think it's definitely good. I think in more budget commander, it's going to be really good. I'm glad you pulled this one up because it is just excellent. No, Jacob should take it.
Okay, Jacob, you take it.
Nerd Rage. For 2 and a blue. It's an enchantment or a enchant creature. When Nerd Rage enters the battlefield, draw 2 cards. Love that. Enchanted creature you have no maximum hand size, and whenever this creature attacks, if you have 10 or more cards in your hand, it gets 10/10 until the end of turn.
Yeah, +10/+10. Huge.
Yeah.
So very Voltron-y. Again, more Voltron.
There's a lot of Voltron.
Yeah, there is. Not in Dogmeat's colors, interestingly enough, right? Outside of it. But this is good, right, Gabe? I mean, this is everything you want as a Voltron.
Yeah. Yeah, and a Voltron deck, this is massive. Like, first of all, it automatically is drawing you 2 cards no matter what, which is like fine for 3. But the fact that you have no maximum hand size, and this, if you're playing this on your commander, and your commander has +10/+10, that's, I think that by itself is game losing for people.
Yeah. I mean, 21 is the commander damage limit. So in commander, you lose if you take 40 damage or 21 damage from any commander, one commander source.
Oh, it has to be commander.
It has to be a commander. Yeah. So this
has to be the commander. Yeah.
Okay. So still, it's, I mean, again, so much Voltron love. Okay, I have to take this one.
I had this one.
You have this one?
Yeah, this is
okay, well then you take it. Yeah. But I love this card.
No, go for it.
Okay.
Go for it.
Nick Valentine, Private Eye, 2 and a blue, another legendary artifact creature. Also Nick Valentine, one of the coolest characters in the whole Fallout lore. It's a synth detective. Can't be blocked except by artifact creatures, which is like super fear or intimidate. Only artifact creatures, not black creatures, not colors that share with it. Whenever it or another artifact creature you control dies, you may investigate. So I just love it as an idea of, again, we'll see this actually on a couple of cards. Artifact doublers. Things that allow me to double up. Like if I have something that's creating artifact creature tokens, it doesn't say non-token. So like for every artifact creature token that I'm able to sacrifice, this doubles it into a clue token, which then I could be able to sacrifice, right? So if I have some artifact sacrifice outlet's energy, which CEDH is rife with, this thing just pours gas on it. On top of its fail cases, it replaces itself even with a clue token. And it can be a Voltron target, like what we just saw with that other one, because he is a legendary artifact creature and he's hard to block.
Yeah.
So he's cool.
Yeah.
He goes in a lot of different stuff.
This is a really cool card, and I think this is some of the best art in the set as well.
Yeah. Oh, I hope
the foil.
I hope his eyes are foil. Yeah. Mango and I have been taking deep dives into the foils, so we'll have to get one of these. Your case is my top concern. This is really cool. I think it was about when I read this one and I was like, okay, this card design, pretty neat. Pretty neat card design. Paper Wright, Publick Reporter, 1 in a blue for a 1/2. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, investigate that many times. Whenever you sacrifice a clue, put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control. So this is kind of similar to the other one, right? The other one was drawing cards equal to the base power. This one is dealing combat damage. But this one doesn't care about base power. Like if you make this a 6/6, or if she's big because of nerd rage, she's a nerdy, angry Piper Wright. You investigate a ton, right? Generating a ton of clues. And then she also, again, it's whenever you sacrifice a clue. Like we were just talking about sacrifice outlets. Even if you're not paying the mana, you're getting this payoff. Yeah. So things that cost 0 to sacrifice artifacts for some other upside. Krark Clan Ironworks, anyone? Sacrifice an artifact you control to add 2 colorless mana.
Yeah.
Start doing some stuff. Yeah, I like her.
Yeah, I really like this card.
A lot of components. What else do I have here?
I mean, Radstorm.
You want Radstorm?
Yeah, Radstorm, 3 and a blue. Storm Proliferate. Hilarious. Hilarious.
Yeah.
And like, it is 2 ridiculous words stapled on a card together and nothing else, and I love that. Green Sky at Night, Ghoul's Delight.
Yeah, this is a wild card. Because I guess the rad counters are counters that go on players now and can be proliferated. So that's the idea. And rad, we actually haven't seen a rad one yet. We'll talk about what that is when we get to it. But rad is an interesting new mechanic, rads, which is actually great for Fallout.
It's pretty rad, bro.
It is pretty rad. All right, Robotron War Mind, 3 and a blue for a star 5. Its power is equal to the number of cards in your hand. When it enters the battlefield, gain an amount of energy equal to the number of artifact creatures you control. Remember that white card that we saw, that whenever you gain energy, your team gets plus? So if you have a bunch of artifact creatures, you get like 6 energy, 7 energy. It counts itself as well.
Yeah.
And then your whole team gets +6/+6, right? Whenever it attacks, you may pay 3 energy if you do draw a card. Like, that's the least interesting part about this. To me, this is, I can gain 8 to 10 energy. Like, there's that card that I've really wanted to build around, the Jan Jensen. Do you remember Jan Jensen, Gabe? It's like a Mardu 3/3. It's from Baldur's Gate or something. It says sacrifice a non-creature artifact and make like 2 clues, and then sacrifice a non-creature artifact, make 2 1/1 artifacts, sacrifice a creature artifact, make 2 clues, or something like that. So
yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, just stuff like that. I mean, there's so much support for stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways these cards can be used.
I picked out all of these just because these are always interesting, and I think generally they're made pretty powerful. So, Struggle for Project Purity. That has some interesting undertones. 3 and a blue. Struggle for Project Purity enters the battlefield. Choose Brotherhood or Enclave. You start reading. I have to drink. I'm gonna cough.
All right. Brotherhood is at the beginning of your upkeep. Each opponent draws a card. You may draw a card for each card drawn this way. So
everyone draws 1. You draw 3.
Yeah.
That's the
Unless
idea.
it's later.
Unless they choose not to. Oh no! It forces them to.
Yeah. It's not
it
May.
Forces them
it's
to.
not a May.
Wow. All right. What if you pick Enclave?
Okay, Enclave is whenever a player attacks. Whenever a player attacks you with 1 or more creatures, that player gets twice that many rad counters.
We have to talk about rad counters now.
I don't know how rad that is.
So rad counters, I think it's during your upkeep. You lose X life and mill X cards, and then you reduce the number of rad counters by 1.
Oh.
So if you have like 6 rad counters, you mill 6, take 6, and then go to 5. So the next turn you do it again.
Okay.
That's pretty brutal.
So that's pretty good disincentive to be attacked. Because it's twice that many rad counters. So 3 is already 6. 6 rad counters. So you have to do 6 factorial. 6 plus 5 plus 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1. Do you know how much that is? 6 factorial is actually easy.
You just said that too fast. I don't know what you said at all.
6 factorial is 6 plus 5 plus 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1.
Oh, okay.
It's 21.
Okay. I was at 18 and I was almost there. I was counting still.
Yep. So 21 damage if they attack you with 3 creatures over the course of 6 turns. But the counters can keep stacking, right? If you have more ways to make rad counters or proliferate or what have you. Yeah. So I think this is... how good do you think the first one is, Gabe?
I think it's pretty interesting. Theoretically, you never want to give your opponents anything if you don't have to, but like the fact that you're getting 3 cards is a lot. 3 cards is a lot, and if you're in a really control-y deck, I could see this being really good. Because if you can like get this out early, like you can nope whatever you want if your deck is built around like if you have 3 extra cards, you can probably do something about what's on the board for other people.
And so you can blink these to change them, right? If you have like, I don't know if Ephemerate only does
especially
creatures.
in blue.
But yeah, but if you have like non-land permanent blink, like does Displacer Kitten do it to any permanent? I'm not sure, but like
I don't know.
Yeah, Displacer Kitten's amazing.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really good.
It is a pretty OP card.
I'll have to check that out.
You'd want to be in blue and white, but yeah, you definitely can.
I like this card. I don't think these are like hyper competitive. I don't think we've seen anything that's actually like hyper competitive. Like
yeah. Like
but it's all
saw it into CDH.
But that's why I understand why people are really into this, because like it all seems strong. Like this is like this is the sort of my deck's a 7 or my deck's an 8. You know?
Yes. Yeah.
That's what it fits into.
But it's also hilarious because like this card back in the day, oh my god.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You want to take it?
Yes, Synth Infiltrator, 3 and 2 blue, so it does cost 5, but it has Improvise for an artifact creature synth, and it's a 0/0 because you may have Synth Infiltrator enter the battlefield as a copy of any creature on the battlefield, except it's a synth artifact creature in addition to its other types. So obviously it goes in an artifact deck, but like clones are always good, so like you can very easily play this for 2 blue.
Yeah.
And like you're always playing this for 2 blue, and this can be any creature on the battlefield. Like this hits way above its weight.
Yeah. So what it's
definitely punches up.
So the stock clone that everything's named off of, literally clone, it was 4 mana, copy anything. That was like the baseline. Then they've been power creeping that. By first they gave us clones that also cost 4 but had just more upside, like adding a 1/1 counter, also being able to clone planeswalkers. That was like mirror entity, right? Like that was a good one. Then we started seeing them cast or make 3 mana clones. Now we're seeing them make conditional 2 mana clones. Like that's what this is.
Okay.
This is a 2 mana clone, but you have to have 3 artifacts.
Okay.
Which is so easy.
Yeah, which is easy. Yeah. So yeah, this is strong.
This is strong.
It's not broken, but it's strong. It's strong.
I could see it fitting in a lot of places.
Oh, this card is pretty wild. I'll take this. Feral Ghoul. Now we're talking payoffs here. Feral Ghoul, 2 and a black, menace, zombie mutant, so it goes in zombie decks. Whenever another creature you control dies, put a 1/1 counter on it. Whenever it dies for any reason, you're sacrificing whatever. When it dies, each opponent gets a number of rad counters equal to its power. Each opponent, number of rad counters.
I think that's really good.
Yeah.
Is it not?
Yeah, I think this is really good. This is just a huge payoff for if you have a bunch of tokens.
Yeah.
It also punishes board wipes that don't exile. Non-exile wing board wipes. Like this, I mean, what rad equals 10, in the medium game or something? Like that just, it takes them out. Do you think this is good enough, Gabe? I think this is good enough to like be a cornerstone of a lot of decks, a lot of zombie decks, token decks.
Yeah, I was specifically going to say, in a zombie deck, like where you're going to be sacrificing your zombies, like this is really good.
Yeah. Because
like it by itself could be a win con.
Yeah. Yeah, the interesting thing, so it doesn't have a way to sacrifice stuff, but it's also it's also not costing sacrificing stuff. It's another one of those things that is rewarding you for already doing the thing your deck probably wants to do, which is sacrificing stuff. Yeah, I think Feral Ghoul is quite good.
That's what you like to see.
Yeah. I also think this card is quite good.
Oh, really?
You want to take it? Try it.
All right. Yeah. Hancock, Ghoulish Mare, 2 and a black. It's a 2/1 legendary creature, zombie mutant advisor. Okay. Are there a lot of... Are advisors like a...
No, really.
Okay. Just zombies and mutants.
Zombies are huge.
Yeah,
mutants,
zombies
not really.
I know about. I do not know anything about mutants.
Yep.
Alright. Each other creature you control that's a zombie or mutant gets +X/+X, where X is the number of counters on Hancock Ghoulish Mare. And it has Undying.
So Undying means that when this creature dies, if it has no 1/1 counters on it, it just comes back with a 1/1 counter.
Yeah.
So the thing is, this thing costs 3. and is a 2/1. And as we've seen, things just like shitting around counters for fun.
Yeah.
And then like maybe you're proliferating or you're just like layering more counters. Because its first ability is like a Lord ability, but it's just constant. It's just a constant +X to all zombies and mutants.
Yeah.
So it's like a super Lord. So however many 1/1 counters you can stack on this thing, your whole team gets it. And then even if you manage to kill it, if you haven't stacked 1/1 counters on it...
It doesn't have to go to the commander zone. It just...
Which, right? Exactly, right. Yeah, if this is even your commander. Which, yeah,
it's probably not your commander.
It's probably not.
Yeah.
It's probably
not.
But it could, yeah, it could be.
Like a lot of the cards we've talked about, this just slots super well in decks that are doing these things.
Yeah, already doing zombies.
You're playing around zombies and mutants, like, which no one's doing mutants, but zombies, like, this is cool.
But both of those last two cards, right? You're just slotting them right in. This card is wild. Gabe, take this one.
The art of this card is also excellent. Nuclear Fallout, X and 2 black, sorcery. Each creature gets twice -X/-X until end of turn. Each player gets X rad counters. I didn't read this card. This card is. Whoa. So this is just way. Yeah. This is just way better than Toxic Deluge.
Okay. On the surface, I see why you're saying that, but Toxic Deluge's whole thing is that it only costs 3 mana and it scales with the life you pay.
That's fair.
That's fair. So it's like a
you
board wipe for 3.
You can wipe basically anything. But
yeah, this is still aggressively costed.
This is still aggressively.
Well,
also the fact that it does twice -X/-X.
So for 5, it's -6/-6. So that's 5 is probably a board wipe, right? That's
most of the time.
But then they only get 3 rad counters. I think the rad counter thing is more like almost like a payoff for having gone like infinite mana, right? Yeah. Because rad counters, I think I'm pretty sure rad counters are an upkeep thing. I'll make sure about that. But that's actually funny, right? Imagine you do have infinite mana and you just make everyone have 1,000,000 rad counters. You will win because you're the last one to go.
Right.
I'm gonna look that up real quick. But
also, I will say this would be especially good in decks that care about milling yourself, milling opponents, like because just giving people rad counters is good.
We should clarify the rules on rad counters. Okay. It happens at the beginning of their pre-combat main phase. They lose 1 life and remove 1 rad counter for each non-land card that they mill.
Oh.
So you can remove... It's not factorial. Okay. You can remove several rad counters if you mill a whole bunch of non-lands. But still, infinite rad counters one-shots you. And it is pre-combat main phase. At the beginning of their pre-combat main phase. So at the same time when, like... what are those called? The enchantments where you go to a different segment every turn. They're not called quests. Like Urza's Sagas.
Like Urza's Saga, what is it?
Yeah, Urza's Saga, what is it called? Oh, Saga. But yeah, it triggers at the same time that sagas do. So at the beginning of your main phase. So yeah, it doesn't get you. So yeah, infinite one-shots everyone. That was the upshot.
Also, the end of the world occurred as predicted. Too many humans, not enough space or resources to go around. The details are trivial and pointless. The reasons, as always, purely human ones.
Written as a robot would write it.
Yeah. As they will be.
Yep, as they will be writing it. I was going to go over this rats one, but we're already going over so many things. I do think the rats one is actually pretty interesting. If you like rats, I like that. V.A.T.S is iconic because it is V.A.T.S. Also because they put split second on it, so 2 and 2 black for an instant split second, so nothing can respond to it. The stack is locked until it resolves the stack. Choose any number of target creatures with equal toughness. Destroy the chosen creatures. So wipe an entire token army and everyone else's 1/1s or 2/2s or what have you.
Even 3/3s. Like there's plenty.
Seems fine. I like it. I like this is the direction that they chose to take V.A.T.S. Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. I like it.
What is V.A.T.S?
It is the so you can play Fallout in like real time, like a shooter.
Yeah.
Or you can go into this turn-based combat mode called V.A.T.S, basically, where you have like a certain amount of like energy. So you can play it as like a turn-based tactical sort of game with percentages to hit. Like that's what you see. Like the different parts of their body have different percentages, and you can like shoot off their arms to maim them and stuff. So yeah, that's V.A.T.S. It's called the Vault-Tec Assisted Targeting System. Get your V.A.T.S. So he has the flavor text. The Vault-Tec Assisted Targeting System redefines combat. Get your V.A.T.S. today. V.A.T.S.
V.A.T.S.
Alright. Vault 12. So this is cool. Speaking of sagas, so one of the coolest things about Fallout is this big open world exploration game with a bunch of side quests and the main storyline and all that sort of stuff, right? So buying and selling, building stuff. But there's also very unique dungeons that were other vaults. Because the vaults were like themed experiments, it turned out. Because even in the apocalypse, Vault-Tec was like experimenting with humanity for their own ridiculous purposes. So this one's a wild one. Vault 12, the Necropolis, 4 and 2 black. It's a saga. So immediately when you play it, it gets the first stage, and then every turn, it goes up a stage. So each player gets 3 rad counters. Then create X 2/2 black zombie mutant creature tokens, where X is the total number of rad counters among players. So I thought this was better when I picked this because I thought rad just went down 1 every turn. So I thought X was going to be a minimum of 8. Right? Because if everyone gets 3, then it gets back down. Right. So I was like, oh my goodness, it makes 8 2/2s? But now, theoretically, it could make 0 2/2s. Like, it's possible if everyone mills 3 non-land cards.
Unless you could proliferate after spending 6 mana.
Yeah, after spending 6 mana, you can also proliferate. And then you get to put 2... So now I'm off of this. Poor pick. It's too conditional. I was thinking if this thing actually made 8 2/2s, and then you just put a bunch of counters.
Maybe you're running what's the thing that you can pay life to proliferate, the artifact from Brothers War.
The Staff of Domination.
Staff.
Yeah, the Staff of Completion. Yeah. Staff of Completion.
Staff of Completion. Yeah.
All right. So Assaultron Dominator. This is just an example. Like, there's a couple of these that I pulled out. It's just a 2/2 for 2, but it just prints 2 energy. Yeah. Right? Like we were saying, 2 mana artifacts that just print 2 energy. And whenever an artifact creature you control attacks, you may pay an energy. If you do, it gets +1/+1, first strike, or trample. So this is helpful for Voltron, right? Yeah. If you're energy Voltroning in some way.
Really cool foil upcoming.
Yeah, I'll bet the foil is going to be cool. But I'm just in for a bear that gives me 2. That is an artifact and gives me 2 energy. Right. Like, I think it's cool.
For 2.
It's weird to me that it's a rare a little bit, but...
Yeah, agreed. I love the name Bottle Cap Blast. No reason to talk about it. I just love Bottle Cap Blast.
Crimson Cavalier, a 1/2 double strike trample for 3. So that's pretty aggressive. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, create a junk token. So this card is just... I don't think this is great, but just to me that they're really just making this, like, do something with me. Like, I do nothing by myself.
Buff me, please. Thank you.
I require support.
Double strike trample.
Double strike trample is a lot. Yeah, Bottle Cop Blast is a... I think it's a decent card. I think I actually have it. Do I have it? I do have it printed. You don't think there's a reason to talk about this, Gabe? I think there's a reason to talk about this.
Okay, let's talk about it.
So the goal here, so it's a 5 mana, deal 5 damage to any target though, can go face. Improvise, so it can cost only 1. And then if you deal excess damage, you make that many... Oh, they're tapped treasure tokens. I didn't realize they were tapped. Lame.
Yeah, they're tapped.
They're tapped.
Yeah,
so
I was interested as to why, you were...
Well, to my point, they're tapped for a reason, probably. Because I think if you could just shoot something... You pay 1 mana to shoot something for 1 and make 4 untapped treasure tokens.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah, that's pretty nuts. Okay, well, that's interesting. Oh, this card I think is ridiculous. I'm not sure if the early returns on this is that it's ridiculous. Did you flag this one, Gabe?
No, I did not.
Okay, I want you to read it then. I want you to see if you think this is as good as I think it is.
Okay. Grim Reaper's Sprint, 4 and a red. Enchantment Aura. Morbid. This spell costs 3 less to cast if a creature died this turn. Okay? Enchant creature. When Grim Reaper's Sprint enters the battlefield, untap each creature you control. If it's your main phase, there is an additional combat phase after this phase. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2 in haste.
That's a 2 mana extra combat phase.
That seems good.
Has that ever been printed? I don't think that's ever
it doesn't
been
have
printed.
to be. It's obviously not your pre-combat main phase, and like clearly you're going to want to have attacked already. So like this is also like you're fucking sad if you got attacked by this and you're already in a rough spot, and then they're like, oh, how about another attack?
Right.
Because
you're dead.
Well, this is nuts on Voltron as well, right? Because it gets you the other commander hit. I think that's the main focus once again. Voltron, because it gives them +2. I don't know, the and haste is kind of silly. I think that's just flavor because they called it sprint, because presumably this thing has already attacked. Also, if you have a way to blink this, it does its thing again. Because it enters the battlefield, not cast.
Yeah, that's scary.
Or bring it from the graveyard, right? We've seen things that can reanimate auras from the graveyard as well.
Right.
Yeah, I think this
maybe this is good.
Yeah. Oh, I think this is very good. I think this card is very good. I think a 2 mana extra combat phase with additional upside. I mean, you do have to have a creature die, but let's say you can pull that off. It's not a huge ask.
Not a huge ask.
Okay, finally we're actually going through some here. I think this one's fine. This is interesting. So I'll go through it really briefly. It's just 2 and 2 red for a legendary artifact creature. It's Rose. It's also really awesome from Fallout lore. It's a 3/2 first strike. That's not the point. The point is that at the end of combat, if you attack this turn, you get a junk for each opponent you attacked. And you can sacrifice a junk so it turns your junk into red treasure as well as being impulse draw. Yeah. So the idea I like for this is, once again, like if you have a deck that plays like Time Civ, like my Stranger Things deck, something that can generate 3 artifacts a turn in combat, all you have to do is attack 3 different people and you get 3 artifacts, and then you can immediately cash them in for 3 mana. Like that really gets the Time Civ ball rolling. So this is very specific, relevant to my interests, but I think there's probably other decks that'll like this too. Like generate 3 artifacts, 3 mana for really no investment, just kind of having to shit out 1/1s. I think that's fine.
Yeah, agreed. I would also like to point out, while we're in this general vicinity, well, what's the next one you have?
The very next one.
Okay, let's do that one.
Okay. Take it.
Alright, Synth Eradicator. For 2 and a red, it's a 3/3 artifact creature. Synth Soldier. It has haste. Whenever Synth Eradicator attacks, exile the top card of your library. You may get 2 energy. If you don't, you may play that card this turn. Okay. Exhaust this, pay 3 energy. Synth Eradicator deals 3 damage to any target.
Yes. So a 3/3 haste for 3 is already fine, and it generates you 2 energy. It's again one of these like energy things.
Yeah.
I'm not super into the bottom ability, but like maybe that shoots a very important commander or something. You know, it can definitely be relevant. But also, instead of gaining energy, you can impulse draw as well. So this just kind of does it all, right? Like, your deck probably has to care about energy for you to be interested in this, but since it also has a payoff for energy, not even necessarily, you could just be an aggressive red-based sort of deck, and you probably want to play this.
Right.
So again, it just kind of does everything. I think it's interesting. What's the one that you wanted to go over, Gabe?
One of my favorite arts is also Wild Wasteland.
Oh yeah, I have this one. I have this one up there as well. You take it.
Wild Wasteland, 2 and a red, enchantment, skip your draw step. At the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top 2 cards of your library. You may play those cards this turn. I think this is
It's like Crimson
close.
Pulse.
I think it's close to being like too expensive at 3, but like there are a ton of decks that have payoffs at this point, specifically around you exiling cards off the top of your deck, and the fact that it's just essentially giving you 2 extra an extra card every single turn.
Yeah,
pretty good.
Extra card. Yeah, and it doesn't you don't lose the game for drawing off the top of your deck. If you have no cards in deck, you can't be milled out, which is silly because you skip your draw. You specifically have to draw for that to trigger.
Yeah.
So just this upkeep trigger doesn't do anything. Yeah, I think it's fine. I think like Crimson Pulse is a lot better than this. If you're just actually interested in cards, but if you're doing the what's that guy's name? It's not Raphael. Prosper. Yeah, you're doing Prosper sort of stuff. This is interesting. Yeah, it's kind of a neat card. I do briefly want to talk about this one just because I have a beef with it. I think this card is hilariously bad, but it has one funny aspect. You like this card? Yeah. It's 1 in a red for an enchantment saga. You just like it because it's an enchantment. You discard a card, then you draw a card twice. So it does that the first 2 times, just a rummage. So you're still down a card because you played this. Then you reveal up to 5 non-land cards from your hand. Get it? Like poker. And for each of those cards that has the same mana value as another card revealed this way, you create a treasure token. So the really cool top-down flavor design here is that you're playing poker and the amount of treasures that you get scales with your poker hand. So like if you had a full house, you'd gain 5. Right? Because it only has to match one other one for each of the cards. So like if you have a pair, you gain 2. A pair of mana value. If you have 3 of a kind, you gain 3. If you have 4 of a kind, you gain 4. 5 of a kind, obviously you gain 5. But if you have a full house, you also gain 5. The weird thing is that a full house beats 4 of a kind in this instance, and that also 2 pair beats trips. Beats 3 of a kind. Because if you have 2 pair, you get 4, right? Because it says for each of those cards that has the same mana value as another card revealed.
Oh, okay.
So you'd get 4 if you have like 2 costs and 2 3 costs. Each of the 2 costs sees each other, so they each give you 1. Each of the 3 costs sees each other, they each give you 1. Mm-hmm. So the question, let's say you can consistently hit 5, which I don't think is unreasonable because you're fixing your hand as well. You're playing deuce to 7 triple draw here. Is a 2 mana enchantment that puts you down a card. It's negative card advantage that gets you 4.5 treasures after 2 turns. Is that good?
No.
No, probably not.
But I think it's fun.
I mean, think of this: if there was a if there was a 2-cost card that just said make 5 treasures, like that would be nuts, right?
Yeah.
Even though you're down a card, so maybe this is better than I'm thinking because it's almost that. It's almost that delayed.
Yeah.
Maybe it's better than I'm thinking.
It takes 3 turns. It's a lot.
Let's see. Where am I here? This is a... Oh, no. That's not what I meant to do. This is a kind of ridiculous Voltron-y card. So 1 in a green, enchant creature, animal friend. Ew. Enchanted creature has... When this creature attacks, you make a 1/1 green squirrel, and then it gets +1/+1 on that token for each or an equipment attached to this creature other than animal friend. So I don't know why they decided not to make it count itself. I guess because it would just be too broken because it would immediately make a 2/2. But so this is interesting, right? Because this is like your all that glitters, but the inverse. It's making another creature to be an additional threat on top of your Voltron. So like a super Voltron card with the idea that it's making extra threats. So if they deal with your Voltron commander, you still have something going on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those
look like the ROUSs.
The what?
The ROUSs from Princess Bride. That's what that reminded me of. Rodents of unusual size, for those who don't know.
I didn't know. So I thought this was broken, and then I reread it. So it's not as broken as I thought it was, but I still think this is pretty good. So it's a 3/3 for 2 and a green, legendary Treefolk Mutant, Harold and Bob, which is also great in Fallout. first Newmans. So when Harold and Bob dies, if it was a creature, then you return it to the battlefield. It's an aura enchantment with enchant forest you control, and enchanted forest has tap at 3 mana of any one color. You get 2 rad counters. So it's a 3/3 vigilance reach that when it dies, it basically turns into 2 ramp on a creature you control. So the first time I read this, I was just dumb and thought it was 3 ramp, and I was like, 3 mana to ramp 3 is outrageous, right? If you just had a way to sack this.
Yeah.
Also, it works in Enchantress because it comes back into the battlefield. Or the Enchantresses that don't care about casting and just care about entering.
Right.
Would you play this in Enchantress? It's triple ramp. It's a 3/3 vigilance.
There's so much insane ramp in Enchantress.
It's not triple ramp. If I just lied again, it is double.
And
ramp.
it's not triple ramp, right?
But it also mills you with rad counters. It mills you for replenish.
I don't care.
It's not
good.
I like it. What's your next one, Gabe?
Potato Farmer. Is the Potato Farmer any good? It's another zombie.
This one.
Atomize.
That one's cool, yeah.
Oh, Atomize? Okay. This one I think has some talking about.
Is that Gowie?
I don't know. Gabe, you take it. You can say words better than us idiots.
Rampaging Yao Guai. Yao Guai? Yao Guai.
Sounds right.
X and 3 green, creature, bear, mutant, 2/2.
That is not a bear.
Vigilance, trample. Rampaging Yao Guai enters the battlefield with X/1/1 counters on it. When Rampaging Yao Guai enters the battlefield, destroy any number of target artifact and or enchantments with total mana value X or less. Okay. I mean, it's just good to have this in your deck. I don't think it's great because it's triple green.
It's a house.
Well,
it's ridiculous.
It's
vigilance trample, and it's dealing with something with removal. So, like, I mean, this is good at even like 5, probably.
I think it's good at 3. I'm very glad it's triple green because I think it's too good if it's not.
Oh, it's also X or less.
Yeah.
So like you could, okay, because this just there's so many good mana like artifacts that are 0 cost.
Well,
so
all
like,
tokens. Every treasure token, every clue, every artifact token, of which there's a billion now. Every junk. For 3 mana, it destroys all of them.
All of them.
Any number. Any number. For 3 mana. It better be 3 green. Because, like, imagine if that's 2 in a green, every green deck is playing this.
Yes. Yeah, this is good.
This is a staple. Again, just it being 3 green keeps it from just the most ubiquitous staple. Although that, what's that?
Ugly son of a bitch.
What's that super green commander that just fetches creatures? Yasari? You know what I'm talking about? Yazri? It's like an actual CEDH commander.
Yeah. Like, he's 3 green.
Yeah, he's 2. I think he's 2 in a green, and he like. Anyway, this goes in that deck. I'm almost sure.
Yes, he costs 3. He's in green.
Yeah, and it's an enter the battlefield. I think this just straight up goes. So this is maybe the first true CEDH card that we've seen, because I at least know.
That for sure is good. Yeah.
So almost perfect. This just has to be mentioned. Hey, we're getting to the end of it, buddy. We're getting there. Almost perfect. So, yes, exactly. You read it. This is a funny card.
All right, 4 green and white. It's an enchantment aura. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature has base power and toughness 9, 10, and has indestructible.
Yeah.
So it can only just be exiled, right?
It can be exiled or -X/-X.
Okay.
Like huge, like a toxic Delulge.
It's a lot at 10. Yeah,
that's asking a lot.
Yeah. So this card has a couple of jokes in it. One, it's rating its own power armor a 9 out of 10. 2, it's the joke that in Fallout, power armor is like what you really want to get, but getting a full matching set is very difficult. Like for them all to look the same. Right. And it even references that in the flavor text. It's just a funny card. Also, pretty good in Voltron again, right? You probably are playing this.
Well, there's also a lot of ways to give 1/1 counters in Voltron and like double strike or other things.
Yeah,
so like
strike.
Giving this thing double strike is almost Yahtzee.
So the Alpha Deathclaw is like one of the most iconic enemies in Fallout, and I think they did it fine here. It's a Menace Trample 6/6 for 6, and when it enters the battlefield or becomes monstrous, destroy target permanent. I wish they had made this a little more aggressive. I wish this cost 5, and I wish it was monstrous also for 5. Which, yeah, that's a little pushed, but it's Commander. Like,
yeah.
We don't have to worry about this being like standard playable or anything. But I mean, it's pretty strong. 6 mana to blow up a permanent. I mean, maybe a 6/6 Menace Trample for 5 that destroys a permanent when it enters the battlefield's a little ridiculous. But I would have liked to see it. So yeah, this card's kind of neat. It does the it's the idea is that it's a much better. Oh shoot, what is that called? Oblivion Golem. Meteor Golem. Meteor Golem's the yeah. It's just like a better Meteor Golem. Meteor Golem costs 7 as well. All right, Arcade Ganon. Gabe, you take this one.
It's a great name. 2 white and a blue, legendary creature, human doctor, and he's a 2/3. Tap, draw a card, then discard a card. Put a quest counter on Arcade Ganon. Once during each of your turns, you may cast an artifact or human spell from your graveyard with mana value less than or equal to the number of quest counters on Arcade Ganon. Okay. Yeah, this is a really interesting card. Obviously, you want it in humans and artifacts matters decks. I mean, it's cool. It's interesting. It's definitely a little bit different. I think there's so much human love. So like, I'm sure a lot of ways to make this good, and it has its own engine, which is nice. Plus you're in blue, so you can extra turns things.
From Doctor Who, there's Doctor Love. There's Doctors Matters. That's funny.
Yeah, there are Doctors Matters.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a little too slow, but it's interesting. Whenever I'm allowed to cast 0 cost artifacts from my graveyard, I always perk up a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's also important that it says once during each of your turns, because what it doesn't want you is casting an artifact that untaps this that you can sacrifice to tap this, and then keep reanimating the same artifact that untaps this over and over again. You draw your entire deck and win.
I mean, you can just play a card that says take another turn. But then you've already won. Right? Isn't that the win condition of that blue deck?
There is...
That's my Grixis deck.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you'd have to take infinite turns to win.
Okay.
Which there are ways to do.
You can also chain your extra turns.
Yeah.
If you're drawing enough cards.
I'm gonna take this one. Armory Paladin. This is good. I think Gabe. I'm surprised you didn't pick this one out. One a red and a white for a 3/3 trample. Whenever you cast an aura or enchantment spell, exile the top card of your library. You may play that card until the end of your next turn. And that's a play, not a cast. So like this is again just so much love for the Voltron decks.
Yeah.
Like this is an impulse draw enchantress for auras and equipments. That's what this is. So it's also a 3/3 trample for 3.
Yeah.
I like it. I think it's good.
Yeah, this is just good.
Yeah, it's just good.
I like it.
All right, Atomize, Gabe. This one was yours.
Yeah, I mean, it costs 4 to destroy a non-land permanent. Yeah, the foil for this is going to be sick. But like, this proliferating is interesting. I like anything with proliferate on it. And it being in green black is good. But yeah, no, it's very straightforward, but the fact that it proliferates is great. I really want to do
cool.
an annoying poisoning deck because there's also that green card from the green card that if you target anything of yours, you automatically get a poison counter.
Yeah, venerated rot priest.
Yeah, rot priest. Yes.
Yeah.
Also, plasma rifles separating soft tissues from hard ones since 2077.
That one needs the Stanley voice. It goes, plasma rifles separating soft tissues from hard ones since 2077.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. Oh, Boomer Scrapper. It's 1 red and a black for a 1/1. When it enters the battlefield or attacks, you lose 1 life and create a junk. Whenever a token you control leaves the battlefield, it gets a 1/1 counter.
Okay.
Whenever,
so it's not really a 1/1.
Yeah, whenever a token.
Right.
Ever a token. Your treasure tokens, your junk tokens. And so, notice it says whenever it enters the battlefield or attacks. Mm-hmm. And so those junks can sack for free. So you can immediately sack the junk to make it a 2/2 if you have to. And then by the time it attacks, it makes another one, which you can sack to make it a 3/3 if you have to. But then if you have treasures, this thing's a 40/40. Or so, you make it something ridiculously huge. I wonder if this would be too good if it was a commander. I think this would actually be too good if it was legendary.
Yeah, it might be. It's really good for sure.
Like, it can get so big so fast.
Yeah, that could get out of hand.
And it gives you conditional card draw, like a lot of it, like the impulse drawing of junk. Yeah, if this was a commander, I think it would be... I already think it's pretty strong. I think as a commander, it's kind of wild. The amount of card advantage and size that it can get really fast. All right, Gabe, take this. Another, just more Voltron love.
Yeah, Cass, Hand of Vengeance, 2 red and a white. Vigilance, when Cass or another creature you control dies, if it was enchanted or equipped, return any number of aura cards that were attached to it from your graveyard to the battlefield attached to target creature, then attach any number of equipment that were attached to it to that creature.
And it's a 4/3. Yeah,
and it's a 4/3. This is just really good because it's great protection for your Voltron.
Yeah, it's movable Voltron.
Yeah, it's movable, very good Voltron.
Yeah, so one of the issues with Voltron that we've seen this try to mitigate is, Voltron doesn't play very many creatures, it just really stacks on 1. What we've seen is a bunch of creatures here, from like Handy Helper to this other stuff that like is making your Voltron better. Like we just saw, I don't remember I have the name up here. The what was it? The Armory Paladin or whatever. That's also like the impulse draw enchantress. So the idea is now it wants you to play Voltron with more creatures. Mm-hmm. And then Cass here says, even if you take out the Voltron, now I have another Voltron. It's probably not my commander Voltron, which is less frightening, but at least I'm not losing it. Obviously they can just remove Cass, to stop that. But then they're not removing your Voltron commander. Or maybe this is your Voltron commander.
Pick your poison.
But then, see, it's like, hey, if he chooses to be a commander and to Voltron it also works when I die. So it's like, if I'm not the commander, it works, and if I am the commander, it works. So, again, great. Voltron. Colonel Autumn. 1 a red and a black for a 2/3 lifelink exploit. So exploit says when this enters the battlefield, you can sacrifice a creature to trigger something. Mm-hmm. Other legendary creatures you have also have exploit. Whenever a creature you control exploits a creature, put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control. So that's like we saw way back in the beginning with Caesar, right? Mm-hmm. Like Caesar up there and Colonel Autumn, they're all about just using their troops, just exploiting the shit out of them. Do you think this is good enough, Gabe? Would you play this in like a Mardu sort of go wide, same as Caesar? Yeah.
I think it might be because you're going to be generating a lot of tokens, and this just ensures that you have big tokens.
Yeah. Think about some interesting cross energies here. Think about those 2 zombies, the Hancock, the one that pumps your whole team. Mm-hmm. This gives him 1/1 counters. The other one that gives Rad equal to the number of creatures whenever a creature dies. it gives Rads equal to its power when it dies. Like, that works with this. Yeah. This can sack it. This makes your other legendary creatures be... Like, there's so many cross-energies that this kind of helps with all the... Oh, also remember the one that... Oh, never mind. I don't remember that one. There's so many things.
Remember the thing in
a lot. There's a lot of payoffs.
Yeah, so many payoffs.
That foil.
Which one? This one?
No.
Craig Boone.
Electro Siphon.
Electro Siphon. I actually don't have that one, but we can talk about it real quickly because it's really straightforward. Oh, here's another one. Gabe, take this one. This one's wild.
Elder Arthur Maxon. 1 and Orzhov, white and a blue, or white and a black, sorry. Legendary creature, human knight, 4/2. So a 4/2 for 3. Creature tokens you control have training, which is whenever a creature token you control attacks with another creature with greater power, put a 1/1 counter on that token. Blind Betrayal. Sacrifice another creature. Elder Arthur Maxon gains indestructible until end of turn. So this is just
pretty good.
So yeah, this is really good because if you have a way to make tokens, you're guaranteed going to be able to attack with this, make it indestructible, and start buffing your other tokens.
Yeah, and so he will himself get them all up to 4/4s eventually.
Yeah.
Right. If you have him in another 4/4, let's say, and then a bunch of 1/1s, and you attack, it will trigger all of them twice. So it'll get them all up to 3/3s. Because it'll see one 4 attack and then another 4 attack. Or even if you had a 4/4 and a 3/3, it'll still double trigger to make them all 3/3s.
Yeah.
And then he himself can stay alive. And he's very efficiently costed. And he can do the exploit thing because he's a legendary if you were playing the other guy that we just saw. So a lot of sort of aristocrat Mardu sacrifice. I mean, these aren't Mardu. These are... oh, shoot. What Orzhov. But clearly the Mardu theme is that. I didn't do him. Okay, so we can talk... Yeah, this foil is going to be pretty wild. This counter spell, you gain that amount of energy. Is this... How good is this? Is this really good?
I mean, no, but like...
if it's X and blank...
If you care about energy, you're playing this in your deck.
Yeah, you probably are.
Yeah.
But it would be hilarious if you had that, that guy that pumps your team equal to the energy that you gained, and like you attack someone and they try to, wipe your board at instant speed or protect themselves, like Teferi's protection, and you're like, no. Yeah. Also, my whole team is huge.
Also, my team's bigger, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, this card is hilarious and just has to be talked about. Gabe, take this one.
Yeah, I actually had thought about putting this one in. So inventory management, red and a white, instant split second. So once again, if you play it, it resolves the stack immediately. For each aura and equipment you control, you may attach it to a creature you control. So this is a great way to get around removal from other people, or once again,
blockers.
Or blockers, or protecting your Voltron.
Yeah. Yeah, like, it's interesting.
Your relevance going. Yeah, I don't know how good it is, but like it's good in that kind of deck, which is like a at its most probably a 7 power deck.
Yeah, I mean you're probably not getting a card out of this. That's funny.
Oh, that art.
How about Kellogg's? Take Kellogg's.
Kellogg's. What is your favorite Kellogg's cereal?
I don't know.
Oh.
I don't eat the stuff. It's all trash.
Good name.
Gabe straight up can't.
Post for life.
Wouldn't eat it anyway.
O's for life.
O's for life.
Kellogg, a dangerous mind, 1 black and a red. It's a 3/2 legendary creature, human mercenary, with first strike and haste. Whenever Kellogg attacks, create a treasure token. Sacrifice 5 treasures, gain control of target creature for as long as you control Kellogg. Only as a sorcery. Activate only as a sorcery. Okay.
This is pretty good. I mean, it's a 3/2 first strike haste that immediately makes a treasure and probably can't be blocked profitably. And then all the different ways there are to make 5 treasures. it's a good thing you can only do it as a sorcery.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's a ton of... I mean, you can... Dockside Extortionist will get you 5 treasures. Just gaining control of them. Seems good. How good is this game? Is this CEDH good?
No.
I think if you take the last line off of it, it is.
Yeah, not
because
as a
then
sorcery.
it's insane.
Yeah, only as a sorcery. Yeah, I'm honestly like not even really that into this card.
We both know how this will end, so you ready?
8 treasure tokens, so like you have to have something that's making you treasure tokens.
Yeah, like, you know, you're playing Commanders. You
Yeah.
have things that are making treasure tokens.
Sure, but like, is it CEDH? No.
No, probably not. Five is a lot, but this is weird because it's so powerful that like you're gonna make people not like you and not CEDH if you play that.
Yeah.
Also, when it says sack 5,
target real quick. There's another foil.
If you're sacking 5, is it? You're not getting the mana for that sacking the 5
Correct.
treasures, are you?
Yeah, you're not getting the mana.
Well, we gotta look at the robot
so
dog.
definitely not then.
Okay. All right, Mango, you take Rex Cyber-Hound.
All right, Rex Cyber-Hound, 1 white and a blue. It's a 2/2 legendary artifact creature robot dog. Whenever Rex deals combat damage to a player, they mill 2 cards and you get 2 energy. Pay 2 energy to choose target creature card in a graveyard. Exile it with a brain counter on it. Activate only as a sorcery. Rex has all activated abilities of all cards in exile with brain counters on them.
It's funny.
Yeah.
It's a funny card. I don't think it's great, but it's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah, it's not good.
It prints energy.
Yeah.
If it had haste, I would be more interested.
And in this situation, it could be really, really fun.
Yeah. It's
for you.
Yeah. It's an artifact creature robot dog.
Yeah. It's a lot.
Oh, wait, no. I had the Sentinel before, Sean. All right, Sentinel Sarah Lyons. 3 red-white for a 4/4 haste, as long as an artifact entered the battlefield under your control this turn, which means it can have happened before this. Creatures you control gain +2/+2, including her. Whenever her and at least 2 other creatures attack, it deals damage equal to the number of artifacts you control to target player. So Sarah coming at you with the swiftness.
Yeah.
That is a house. That is a house. So she is basically a 6/6 haste. And it's the number. So she must be, I don't know the lore of her, but I'm guessing that she's like the leader of like a robot army, right? Because that's what I'm getting from this card. Because it cares about the number of artifacts you control. So if you have a bunch of 1/1 artifacts, Thopters or robots or what have you, now they're all bigger, and she's shooting on top of it to a player, and she's probably a 6/6 haste for 5. I like it. Like, it's obviously not great because it costs 5 and is a creature that doesn't gain you card advantage, but it really does the thing that it wants to do, which is boosting an artifact army and being very aggressive about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. Yeah. I like it. All right, Gabe, take Sean.
Father of Synths, 3 blue and a red.
Almost done.
Legendary creature human scientist, and it's a 3/4. Whenever you attack, you may create a tapped and attacking token that's a copy of target attacking legendary creature you control other than Sean, except it's not legendary and it's a synth artifact creature in addition to its other types. When Sean leaves the battlefield, exile all synth tokens you control. I mean, it's fun, I guess. Like it's cool, and once again, artifacts matters. And
yeah, no, it has to specifically be a legendary creature, but the thing that's interesting.
Legendary creature.
Well, but here, so this has a hidden, like, wild thing, which makes it very clear why it's other than Sean. Because if you could target Sean, it was ridiculous. Because notice it says whenever you attack. So it can happen right when you play Sean by something else attacking. And you get to create a copy of any legendary creature you control, whether it's attacking or not. So if you could, and they don't go away at end of turn, they only go away if Sean leaves. So if you could copy Sean, then you see this starts layering into infinity.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
because
for
then
sure.
it just keeps triggering and triggering and triggering, so that's why it keeps you from letting
There are ways to copy Sean, though.
Yeah. Well, it says other than Sean, which I guess means perhaps that does mean this in quotes, and you can target a different Sean. I'm not sure.
Yeah, they didn't have enough room to put Sean, father of synths.
Yeah. It really would look like too many words on the card, even though it already is. I don't know. I think it's neat.
Yeah, I think it is neat.
It's a 0 mana copying, and the fact that they don't go away at the end of turn, like that's pretty strong.
Pretty good. Yeah.
All right, I'll take 3 Galaxy News DJ, 1 a red and white for a 1/5. Whenever you attack, you may pay. You have him?
I did. Yeah.
Yeah. Whenever you attack, you may pay 2 and sacrifice an aura attached to him. When you sacrifice an aura this way, each other attacking creature gets a token of that aura attached to them. Create a copy of that token attached to that creature. So those tokens probably don't come into play, right? Like they don't trigger ETBs. Do they trigger ETBs? I'm not sure if they trigger ETBs. If they trigger ETBs, there's some really insane stuff you can do with this, like drawing a ridiculous amount of cards.
Yeah. I see what you're saying.
Like, imagine this with Nerd Rage, right?
Yes.
Each one of them makes you draw 2, and then they all will immediately activate, because if you draw 2 that many times, and they all have +10/+10. So if this...
Oh, no.
It creates a token that's a copy of that aura.
They're not like ETBing necessarily.
I should know the answer to this.
I want this card.
Yes, it does. It does. Create a token copy of a creature does trigger ETBs.
Nice.
Okay, so this with Nerd Rage is the combo.
Yeah.
Because the whole qualification for Nerd Rage, right, is +10/+10 if you have 10 cards in your hand. If you copy this 4 times, you're drawing 8 with it, because it draws 2 on ETB, and then that's awesome.
That is quite...
Yeah, that would be sick.
That is quite it.
So people love the design of this, because this is Voltron anti-Voltron design, right? 3 is your Voltron, but he's sending it out to the people, which is exactly what he does.
Yeah, he's the DJ.
He's given the knowledge to the people out there in the wasteland, all the wastelanders.
Read the flavor text.
Amazing design. Yeah, you're listening to Galaxy News Radio, bringing you the truth no matter how bad it hurts. 3 It's great. Yeah.
What, does he do that?
I think so. It's been a long time, but so a really cool. Another reason that people really love this card is if you've played Fallout, and especially like when you were younger, it was very immersive, and you would feel like the wasteland encroaching on you. You know, it's like vast and just dark, and like you really feel alone. But you got 3 out there sending you good vibes. Like you kind of form an emotional relationship with 3. So it was really good. All right, hold on. I'm pretty sure I have this one. We're right here at the end. There's a lot of volts especially across all the games. This one, some of them I don't like. This one I think is pretty interesting. Vault 11, Voter's Dilemma. You know me, I love voting cards. 2 a white and a black. For each opponent, you get a 1/1. So let's say 3, which makes sense. Then this happens twice. Each opponent secretly votes for up to 1 creature. Then those votes are revealed. If no creature got votes, each player draws a card. Otherwise, destroy each creature with the most votes or tied for the most votes. Mm-hmm. So this thing could theoretically destroy 8 creatures.
Yeah.
Right? Because if everyone just votes for 1, it hits all of them.
And if you're an Orzhov and you're making a bunch of tokens, like... they most likely don't, like, the most valuable things are probably not the tokens on your board, which you do care about.
But people probably aren't voting for your tokens either. I guess
That's
they
the
could
point.
be,
That's
right? Just because they're upset at you. But even if they do, so even if you have tokens, like the players have to vote for the same token, because if they don't, well then they're getting all your tokens, but you're also getting to pick off something as well. Who knows how this is gonna turn out crazy. Yes. And the fact that it happens twice, I just like this card, and I really want to make everyone votes deck. It's just all the voting, and this will definitely go in it. I don't think this one's good. I just want to go through this one pretty fast. Vault 112, Sadistic Simulation, 2 red and a blue, and you tap up to one target creature and put a stun counter on it and get 2 energy. You do that twice. So stunning is it doesn't get to untap for a turn.
Right.
And then you can pay any amount of energy, so 4 at least from this. If you paid 1 or more energy this way, shuffle your library so it doesn't let you see the top of your deck because this would be too strong. Then exile that many cards from the top. You may play one of those cards without paying its mana cost. So the reason it makes you shuffle is that this card would be pretty broken if you can just put Omniscience on the top of your deck and then only play 1 energy and cast Omniscience for free. Yeah. Omniscience is an enchantment that says you don't pay mana to play anything.
Yeah.
So
I know what that is,
yeah, so Omniscience is broken. So I still think this is kind of neat. I mean, it makes 4 energy, slows down the game. Because, like, stunning stuff, even at higher levels of play, you know, stunning stuff will really slow down, like, some commander game plans. Potentially, so I don't know. I don't think it's great, but casting stuff for free is pretty good.
Casting stuff for free is really good. Once again, really only relevant if you're doing energy.
Yeah,
but like,
well, it does
just really narrow.
But since you can't set the top of your deck,
or like, energy,
I don't think it's actually good.
I mean, you could have plenty of ways to like put something on top of your deck.
But it makes you shuffle your deck is the thing. So that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Oh, this might be my favorite card in the entire set, just from a pure design perspective. This is top-down sign personified, and I actually think it might be pretty good. It's only an uncommon. This is maybe the first uncommon we've had. 2 mana artifact, expert level safe. Lockpicking, always great in Bethesda games. When expert level safe enters the battlefield, exile the top 2 cards of your library face down. Okay. Pay 1 and tap. You and target opponent each secretly choose 1, 2, or 3. Then those choices are revealed. If they match, sacrifice expert level safe and put all cards exiled with it into their owner's hand. Otherwise, exile the top card of your library face down. So, the worst case scenario this kind of feels like is a 3 mana draw 2 at instant speed as an artifact, right? Because this doesn't say as a sorcery, so you can do this at the end of anyone's turn.
Mm-hmm.
That's only if you pick the same numbers. But like, what if you and your opponent don't pick the same numbers for like 3 turns? Then when you do crack it, you draw 5. Like, let's say the 4th time you finally pick the same number, you draw 5 cards. How do you think this is actually good, Gabe?
I do not, only because I don't want to be sinking a mana into this every single turn.
It's just 1 mana though. I love.
You say that, but like on curve, that's relevant.
Yeah. Oh, I don't think it's like CEDH good, but I'm gonna play this card just because I'm gonna love the flavor of I pay 1 mana, I crack it and draw 5, which that's not unreasonable for this to happen. That'll definitely happen at some point. It's also possible for you to never draw any cards from it ever.
Yes. Yes.
Which would not be good. So I briefly wanted to mention this one, the Nuka-Cola vending machine.
Yeah, this one's good.
You take it, Gabe.
Nuka-Cola vending machine, 3 colorless for an artifact. 1 and tap it, create a food token. Whenever you sacrifice a food, create a tapped treasure token, which once again, if you have other ways to sacrifice your food tokens without paying the mana cost for them, it's a way to make free treasure tokens.
They are tapped, but it's still an artifact doubler.
It is tapped. Yeah, tapped.
But it's still an artifact doubler. It's a 3 mana artifact.
It is an artifact
doubler. So
yeah,
I like it. Maybe I'm just always attracted to these artifact doublers because I want to put it in a time civ deck, because that's all time civ ever has wanted.
Yeah, right, for sure. More ways to double tokens.
Yep. Oh, we have to talk about the Pip-Boy 3000. Maybe the most iconic thing. Pip-Boy 3000. A 1-cost equipment. It equips for 2. Whenever equipped creature attacks, choose 1. Make your own Umazama's Jitte. Draw a card, discard. Get a 1/1 counter. And untap up to 2 target lands. So, interesting. Right when you equip this, it repays its equip cost. If that creature attacks, right? Because you get those 2 lands back.
Yeah.
And then after that, notice it's not really giving you any card advantage. And it's not doing the Jitte thing of being able to give things -1/-1. So it's just kind of medium even then. But it is like a 2-mana ramp. I don't know. I think this is a really cool implementation of Pip-Boy. It's definitely not broken by any means. But it's kind of neat.
I think it's good. I think it's really interesting. I think the fact that it is technically like mana ramp for any Voltron is cool.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It does Voltron itself pretty effectively.
Yeah. Because you're always attacking with the Voltron, and this giving you filtering or 1/1s or ramp is all good.
And you could say it gives you the fact that it gives you 2 mana back can allow you to do the what's that enchantment that just, if you have enough mana, can give you like infinite attacks, like the Reckless Charge or whatever. It gives you a second attack if you can pay 5 mana. So if you can just keep generating 5 mana every time you attack, it's like infinite attacks. Anyway, there's an enchantment that does that. Relentless Charge or something like that. So this is 2 of the mana you would need to go infinite there. And I only have 2 more. T45 Power Armor. 2 mana artifact equipment. When it enters the battlefield, you get 2 energy. That's the kind of part that I'm interested in. The rest of it's a little weird. It gives an equipped creature +3/+3, but it doesn't get to untap. But then you can untap it if you pay an energy. But if you do pay an energy to untap it, it also gets Menace, Trample, or Lifelink. So this is like an OTK Voltron sort of deck. Like, you build up the Voltron, and then you use this thing, which puts it over the edge, and gives it like Menace, Trample, and Lifelink. So you get 1 attack out of it, because it doesn't tap the creature. It only can't untap. But then you can untap it if you pay an energy. So the first time you equip it, it's just +3/+3. And then the next time it untaps, you can give it one of these abilities. But its equip is 3, which means I don't think it's great. But to me, I'm just kind of free rolling the rest of this, because I'm interested in just paying a 2 mana artifact that gives me 2 energy. I like that.
Yeah.
That could do.
You seem to really like the energy.
Yeah, I just want to see. Everyone's going to be trying to build an energy deck. So.
Diamond City.
Yeah, take this one.
Land.
Take this one, Mingo.
Diamond City enters the battlefield with a shield counter on it. Tap to add any color.
No, that's only colorless.
Yep. Tap move shield counter from Diamond City onto target creature. Activate only if 2 or more creatures enter the battlefield under your control this turn.
Yeah.
Okay.
What an interesting final qualification.
Yeah.
So I think they put that in this because they thought this was too good if you were doing like low creature count Voltron. Because once again, this seems very clearly Voltron, right?
Yeah.
This is a land that for no cost gives you a shield. So a shield counter says if it would be dealt damage or destroyed, it just removes a shield counter.
Yeah, it's a block.
Yeah, Light Paws loves this, right, Gabe?
Yeah, for sure.
All day, Light Paws here. Like, there's no... Because you're only mono white, so you're playing this. So I think this card will be worth a decent bit. Because, like, every monocolor Voltron deck wants this. Again, that CEDH green deck probably wants this, right?
Yes. Yeah, no, I mean, this is... I miss this land. It's really interesting.
Yeah. Pretty good. All right, Gabe, did you have...
good foils.
Did you have anything else?
No, we went over... Yeah, we got through all of mine. I will say, if you go down to the alt arts, I obviously missed...
Yeah, we'll talk about that. But before we get to those, we have a couple bonuses. I do want to talk about just, in general, the bobbleheads here. Here, let me hold on.
Yeah, I noticed we didn't pick any of them.
Yeah. For this next part, I'm gonna get rid of these things. Oh, that's not what I meant to get rid of. I have to get rid of this image and get rid of this image. Okay. So I just want to talk through them like at this this stage. So there's a set of bobbleheads that they all are like 3 mana ramps, 1 mana of any color. And then they all have a second ability that scales off the number of bobbleheads that you have, and they all cost different amounts. This is really strange design space for them to take. And it definitely, I mean, bobbleheads are huge in Fallout. So this one, up to X target creatures you control each gain haste until end of turn. They can't be blocked except by creatures with haste, where X is the number of bobbleheads you control as you activate this ability. And it costs 3. So I'm super off this. I'm not paying 3 to give creatures haste that I've already played. It's just awful, right?
Yeah.
Forget that. So Charisma makes X 1/1 white soldier creature tokens for 4, but only as a sorcery, because that's pretty strong. Right? And so remember that the idea is if you're playing a bunch of bobbleheads, they since they're giving you mana, they're like powering their own abilities. Like you tap all the bobbleheads to tap one of them. So this one is, so I think that one's good. Up to X target creatures you control gain +1/+0 and indestructible, where X is the number of bobbleheads, also only as a sorcery. That one's pretty good too, right?
Yeah, that one's fine.
X +1/+0. So what? Like if that's 3, that's pretty strong.
The intelligence one, you have to pay 5.
But just draw X cards.
Yeah.
Where X is the number of bobbleheads.
Yeah.
I mean, and that is at instant speed. That's pretty good. Pretty good. Roll X 6-sided dice. So I guess these are all in that guy's the roll, the doctor, whatever rolly guy. So it only is 1. Roll X, where X is the number. Create a tap treasure token for each even result. If you rolled 6 exactly 7 times, you win the game.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So yeah, that one's good, but you have to care about dice rolling. Look at the top. So for 3, look at the top X cards of your library, where X is the number. You may cast a spell with mana value 3 or less from among them without paying their mana cost. So even by himself, this one has a chance of just casting a card off the top of your deck. This one seems fine. It doesn't seem as good as the intelligence one. I think is the best. And I don't know, the 1/1 one's pretty good.
Is fine.
Yeah,
that one seems bad.
Strength, put X 1/1 counters on target creature. That doesn't for 3. I mean, if you're just paying 3 and tapping to put 3 1/1 counters on something, that's pretty good. But that's it. Yeah, they're neat. We'll see. I'm probably not going to build
fun. Well, they're good, but
well, yeah. What do you think about this?
Love the Radstorm alt art. It just looks like more fun. Toxic Deluge.
How do you feel about these frames?
I'm gonna have to see it in person. You know what I mean? This is such a weird one. Like,
I can't imagine how these things are gonna foil, being so like intentionally low res.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, they might look really crazy with the foil that's obviously on them, but they might also just look pixelated. I don't know.
This is like a Last Supper sort of thing. I mean, it definitely works like with the Fallout, aesthetic, but
like the V.A.T.S.
they're weird.
I like the toxic sheep squatch very end.
This Atomized is really good.
Yeah.
Alpha Deathclaw is good.
Yeah, the Atomized is really good.
Oh, this Dogmeat is excellent because that's very much like the game. Oh, there's Caesar.
I really like that inventory management as well.
Yeah. Oh, it's excellent. Inventory management is excellent. This
sad inventory.
So these are special. These are other special ones that are reprints of iconic cards. This is Hullbreaker Horror. That's pretty wild. Yeah. This is Lord of the Undead, like the best zombie lord. Grave Titan. Yeah. Extremely good card.
The Fog Crawler is Acolyte from Star Wars.
Where do you see Fog Crawler?
The figure, I think it says. One over.
Oh yeah, Fog Crawler. Oh, Vigor. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Acolyte or whatever.
Yeah. Looks similar. Tarmogoyf.
Tarmogoyf, yeah, that one.
Tarmogoyf. Make Tarmogoyf $2. That's Wizard's goal.
Yeah, the Toxic Sheep Swash, the Gem Razor.
Yeah, but how about this one? Assault Invader Walking Ballista.
Ooh.
This thing, so Walking Ballista is one of the most iconic cards because it goes infinite with it. It is one of the best, like, EDH, CEDH, like, win the game sort of things.
Because if you can put infinite counters on it, you just automatically win the game.
Yeah, like one of the easiest things is, like, there's a thing that says whenever a creature deals damage to an opponent, put a 1/1 counter on it.
Mm-hmm.
And so this thing removes a 1/1 counter to deal 1 damage to any target. So you say I do a damage to my opponent, I get a 1/1 counter, and then you just machine gun everyone to death. Yeah. There's like a bunch of there's a bunch of different ways to go about doing that, or just infinite mana. All you need is infinite mana, infinite colorless mana, and it does it its own self. You just put a billion 1/1 counters on it and then shoot everyone. So yeah, that's very good.
Not the bobblehead.
I really like these. There's 172 reprints.
That's nuts.
It's a ton of reprints. And a lot of these are iconic. Like this All That Glitters. Clearly Voltron supported. All That Glitters is in there. Austere Command they've printed into the ground, but it's still good. I like it. Dispatch is cool that they put in here. Another Metalcraft.
Pure Steel Paladin, Path of Exile.
Yeah, bam. They're really trying to get as many Pure Steel Paladins printed as they possibly can. Secure the Waste reprint. That's pretty cool. Remember when you were looking for this card?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, they keep printing Pure Steel Paladin. This is maybe the most obvious card reprint in lore ever for a card that has Paladin in it. Yeah. This Swords to Plowshares is amazing. I really love I really love it for the game. Oh, jeez. My goodness.
I love this Blasphemous Act that's coming up too.
Isn't this card worth money, this mechanized production? I remember there being some amount of talk about this card when it came out. Dude, read what it does. It says, then if you control 8 artifacts of the same name, if you just have 8 treasures, you win?
Yes.
Okay. This card's worth money, right?
I'll look it up.
I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah, look it up real quick. Black Market, that's a good reprint. Deadly Dispute, that's a good reprint for a common. I like Lethal Scheme.
Chaos Warp is pretty cool.
I like this Pitiless Plunderer.
It's worth nothing. It's worth $2.
It's worth nothing? Wow. Was it worth something at some point? Do you see like a price graph?
Oh, sorry. It's $4.48. Still nothing, but
it's something. In this day and age, that's something.
Yeah. I mean, the foil a year ago was $16.
Okay, yeah. I thought it was worth a little something. So this Blasphemous Act is excellent. Also, the fact that they are perpetually printing this card to get it down to like 50 cents, I think they're sending a message here that, and I agree with them, that they don't like clogged board states. They're not a fan of Battlecruiser Magic, so they want to make sure that anyone that's sitting at a commander table that has access to red can just blow everything up, or at least make you have, indestructible or something, in order to protect your Battlecruiser state. This Abundant Growth is awesome. Also Abundant Growth. They've been printing these premium Land Seekers as well, like very regularly. We keep seeing them. Now we get Farseek. Hardened Scales is printed into the ground.
Heroic Intervention is great.
They also want this to
harmonized.
Like they're basically kind of forcing staples down into like the $4 to $5, like $2 to $5 range. Like Heroic Intervention, Blasphemous Act's already below that. Wild Growth is also awesome. We get another Squirrel's Nest, even though we recently got one. This art is frightening. I don't care for it. So we get something else interesting here. Ruinous Ultimatum is an interesting reprint to throw in there. Of course we get Arcane Signant. Another Basilisk Collar. They're also printing that card a lot, it feels like. This ever-flowing chalice is hilarious.
It's
a whiskey flask. It's a flask. This
Another
lightning
good
greaves is great.
simulacrum.
Oh yeah,
this is
yeah.
a good lightning greaves.
Mystic Forge. Panharmonicon's a literally harmonicon.
Yeah.
This skull clamp is amazing as well.
Yeah,
like the mechanist.
Yeah, there's a soul ring.
Soul ring. Yeah, the Solemn Simulacrum is amazing. The Steel Overseer is literally a Steel Overseer. Like I almost feel because when they first made this card, I thought it was a reference to an Overseer from Fallout. The Talismans are the books that you read for stats in the game is also hilarious. Like the Thought Vessel is one of the like computer terminals that you would hack. Is great. Just great. All right. So I really like those artifact reprints, but it's all the usual suspects.
Really pretty.
Yeah, these lands are pretty cool. I love this Canopy Vista.
I think the Dragon Skull Summit is gonna be sick in foil.
I like this one too.
Yeah, I like that one as well.
Clifftop Retreat is. I think they really nailed the color palette for what it is too. You got like a red. Yeah, this command tower is great.
Yep.
New Vegas.
Also,
baby.
the isolated chapel is really good. Yeah, but that Dragon Skull Summit is gonna be so cool.
That's gonna be a wild foil. I wish there was. I wish there were borderless versions of this. Are there gonna be EAs or borderless?
I don't know. I'm assuming.
This exotic orchard is beautiful. Just like random beautiful painting. Yeah, fortress. So they're giving us one of my least favorite land cycles. Not even all of them. Like so, there's 3. Are they giving us all of the typed basic land check lands, or only some of them? I guess only some of them. Yeah, just various cards from all sorts of different land cycles.
Yeah.
Just land cycles all over the place. Glacial
the normal
Fortress.
lands look great.
Wait, I'll get to this. Wait, what is this? Oh, this is Mystic Monastery. Rogue's Passage reprint. That's interesting. The Artifact Land reprints. Didn't think we'd be getting this. Oh yeah, they completed this, but that was back in the set. They finally completed this filter land cycle. Also, this one's brutal. Just a crashed airplane.
Yeah.
But it was like actually higher.
Airport.
Since they were new, it was actually a part of the real set. We just skipped over them, but see, here's the last ones.
Yeah.
All new.
Yeah.
Oh, there are a bunch of EAs.
Yeah, there are.
All right, let's get down. Oh, there's a temple as well. Oh, Terramorphic Expense. Oh, and Temple of the False God. Treasure Vault. That's pretty cool. Yeah, look at these lands.
Yeah.
I kind of wish there wasn't a person in this one. What? I just wish it was like just a landscape. I wish it was just a landscape for most of these. I guess they intentionally put like the player character. I guess one intentionally has the player character and the other's like a map view.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. Like this island's pretty good. See, again, I just kind of wish the player character like wasn't here. It was just this mountain. I think that would look really good.
Agreed.
I disagree.
You like the person in them?
Yeah.
Okay, well, there you go. That's why they did it. That's why they did it, just for you. Which is your favorite? Pick your favorite of the basic lands.
I really like that swamp.
Which one?
From
this
one?
one?
Yeah, I really like that.
Gabe, how about you?
Also the mountain.
It has to either be the mountain with the person in it, or the island with the person in it.
Yeah, you guys.
I didn't even see that one. That one's really cool.
So good. I actually think this one is my favorite as well.
Really?
This swamp
I really like that.
Gnarly.
Gnarly,
Like, it is really... I don't even know what's going on. I need to see it in person. I want to see how it foils, too.
Oh.
Primo was the War Room. Yeah, then you get... The bobbleheads are serialized, because... Sure, that's what they would pick. Then we got a whole bunch of extended arts. Did we get the lands? Oh.
Will they be the cheapest for serialized cards ever?
Yes. Probably. They have a very collect them all sort of feel about them, because in the game that's what you do. Right. I'm glad we're getting these EAs. Yeah, we do get Dragon Skull Summon EA. Yes. So there's a ton of EAs here. They're pretty cool. And then Surge foils. The entire set you can get Surge foil. So Warhammer 40k. But I gotta get through all that. Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to get to.
There it is.
I guess these are also Surge foilable. Then there's these... I don't know what these special reprints come in. I guess probably only Commander.
Farewell.
Packs.
Yes.
Yeah, this Farewell. So Gabe, you said you do not like these, right?
I do not.
You do not like these.
Oh, whatever.
I do not like them. I'm sure this is nostalgic for like the Fallout players, but I have no fucks to be given.
You know what's interesting? They're all reprints except for Nuka-Cola Vending Machine. They're all like iconic reprints except for Nuka-Cola Vending Machine. Yeah. Which is just the new card. But yeah, Farewell. The fact that we're getting a Ravages of War reprint is astounding. Did not think. Yeah. Well, how much is Ravages of War worth? Certainly a lot less now, but like look it up real quick. Yeah. I love the Arcane Signet.
Yeah, that one's nice.
Arcane Signet's good. Nuka-Cola Vending Machine is really good too. So I like Soul Ring as well. I mean, I kind of like all of them, but I also like that art style. I think that's basically it.
Oh my god.
We did
I didn't realize it was from Portal 3 Kingdoms.
Yeah.
So it's... So in December, it was $380.
Yeah. Yep. We did it! We finally finished a review in a reasonable amount of time. Yeah. It was only like 2 hours and 20 minutes, and we'll be back with opening this because we're crazy. It's really expensive, but we like Fallout. I was able to get them for not quite as much as they're going for, but still quite a bit. So we're going to open one of these collector boosters, and I did get a set of the Commander decks.
Yep.
So who knows?
Really fun.
Maybe we'll even play Magic at some point. That would be wild. Ooh. A little bit of Commander with Gabe here.
I'll finally play something.
Yay! All right, we'll see you guys. Thanks.
Bye.
Yeah, we're all going to die from rad counters.
Yes.